Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned this week. As always, if you enjoy these videos, do make sure to leave a like. With that said, let's go ahead and swing on over to the site. So, starting off this week at $90, going to be a little bit more of a lackluster week than last week, needless to say, after that extravaganza we had last go around. We'll get going though. Should be quick, should be easy. 2006 Panini sticker Messi PS 8 for $90. We have a semi-early Mario Kempes. Well, it's still pretty early. 76 crack PSA 4 there. Fun one for him. $93 for that. Seems like a fun addition for a collector, at least to me. PSA 8 of the autograph of Messi from 2010. A lot of Rivera lately in these auction blocks. This one, a 67 Calciatore in a decent grade, goes for 96. You have a 53 Gento PSA 5, which seems like a pretty good grade. Granted, it's a hand cut, so always have to wonder with that. But top one of one, $96 doesn't seem bad. This Bobby Charlton's up a little bit, 96 there. That's lingered at its low sometimes, anywhere from, $70, $80, so nearly $100 on auction. Doesn't seem bad at all to me. Got to always check the back to make sure that it is upside down. And we got to find our spot again. So there we go. From there, Tony Cruz auto here going for 98. We have a Heinerle sort of in-action shot of Di Stefano here, $98 on that PSA 4. Jonathan David, PSA 9, 10 out of 10 gold prism from the 2024 Copa America. This goes for 100. I was interested just because, gold prism, why not? Look it up, see what it does. This does 100. It's done 100 the last 4 or 5 straight sales, and did 120, I guess, at one point in time. So basically, about where it's been for a while. He got a move to Juve, so that is probably going to be fun for the Jonathan David collectors out there. Definitely a pretty decent move. He's been in the league for quite a bit. Getting goals, doing his work, but would like to see him at a bigger club, and we'll have the chance to see that. Messi 2010 PSA 10 here for 100. Doesn't seem bad if you're just putting together runs of PSA 10s. The Zico Ping Pong. Always love the look of these. PSA 3 for $100 is a decent number. Geo Smith 1902 Ogdens, 105 there. Looked at this, and PSA 4 went for 105. PSA 4 in 2023 went for 168, and then it went for 400 back in 2022. I guess the PSA 5 pop one did 311 just a month prior to that, so that might have been, a little high, but ultimately down a good bit. 338 also during the boom, so even vintage, or real vintage, like very pre-war, isn't against the effects of the market where people maybe dive in a little too deep too quick. But, pre-boom, it was sitting at 56 bucks. I guess this is in 2009, my lord. All right, that's, probably unfair, but we'll keep looking. Cool to see 2009 comps on soccer stuff, though. You don't see that a lot. Beyond that, Ben Barrick, FHER here for 108. We have this Lewandowski, which is labeled as a rookie, which, as always, certainly isn't a rookie. I don't know why they never changed this, but nonetheless, 110 there. I don't think anyone's really getting fooled at that price, so that's good at least. We have a variation of the Topps Chrome Hero Ethan Nowari here, going for 115. The well-known at this point Panini Instant Messi holding the World Cup trophy here for 115. Panini Delasport Eusebio from 1973 PSA 8 goes for 117, along with this Shevchenko. Not a rookie quite, but an early gettable Shevchenko. That goes for 117 in a PSA 8. The power of the Kabooms up here with Tim Krul doing a 120 and a PSA 10. That's, interesting to see. Along with that, a Bonaparte PSA 7 here for 132 out of the 1960 Edizione Saddam. Along with a Savory here from 1958 and a PSA 6. Nice little pog in a pop 1 of 1, none higher, going for 132 as well. Keeping it moving, we have a 1951 Godfrey Sport Billy Lytle here, PSA 2 for 132. Don't have a whole lot to add. I've never heard the name. Again, I'm not great with English soccer vintage history, but maybe one day. Yeah, a little easier for me to understand gold modern stuff. So Vinicius Optic Gold. I actually thought this was fairly cheap if you're a Vinny guy, if you're a Madrista, whatever the case may be for you. If you like the card in any way, I don't think 138 is a terrible price. It's a fun one for modern. Obviously, you got the color match out of 10, all that good stuff. PSA being the one downside here, but Optic's never the easiest grade. So, 138 to me doesn't seem bad at all. Erling Haaland IP Auto from 2020 Chrome for 144. We then have a Dino Zoff 1969 Panini Calciatore in a PSA 9 going for 144 early super high grade. So that's fun to see. Always like to think that if you're a collector of that type of stuff, you grab his rookie high grade. Why not grab others if it's going to be this cheap, if you can get the top grades of them? Then we got the 62 Pele WS Verlag and a PSA 1 going for 144, along with the 2023 Lamine Yamal Club Prodigy here, going for 144 too. In this row, we got a 1960 Schutt Brazilian team. Of course, you got Pele in there. That's going to be the main attraction. That goes for 150. This Telmo Zara from 142. I haven't seen that too often, which I was sort of interested in. It's a Cisne Liberta Deportiva, and that, I don't know if it says Calendario, but I don't think the back's anything special. It isn't. I did some research over on Toto, and, they're somewhat gettable in terms of past sales. Never anything over like 50, 75 bucks, but also they usually look pretty beat. This is a nice looking 2, so that's definitely got something going for it. Pop one of 1, 2 higher there. 1993 Larson, Henrik Larson, of course. I had to specify here in the search, but I always love this one. This one just looks so good to me. And in terms of pricing, it's sort of all over the place when you go back and look at comps. It's weird and kind of hard to make anything out, honestly. 162 here, the last 6s were really high, but it looks like it sold maybe a couple times. That might be the same copy, it might not, I don't know. MI Collectibles or ML Collectibles is a pretty big one out of Sweden, I do believe. But yeah, nonetheless, if we go back and look at more sales, SGC 8 for 574, that's one that kind of stands out as low, but this is even lower at 228 for an SGC 8. But then you see a PSA 5 next to it that went on eBay for 700. So it's just hard. There's a difference between auction and fixed price, and this is something that doesn't sell all that often. So I think it's an even wider discrepancy. 810 on this sale. Ultimately, 162 is about the lowest we've seen. So I would say that's a pretty good pickup if you're looking to get in on that type of stuff. You don't see that all too often. And again, I think it's a fun one that's always been a standout to me. So congrats to the winner. Got a 61 Nina Calciatori Gold Gianni Rivera PSA 5 for 180. In addition to that, we have a 78 Tigana rookie PSA 7 that goes for 180 as well. Pop one of 3, adjust a 3 higher. We've seen that go here and there, but definitely not all that common in these auctions. A 1922 Eduardo Pai Ricardo Zamora SGC 1. This one always been a fun one, at least in my eyes. 20 Spain is always going to be fun in general, but the Eduardo Pai set and the imagery of the players in particular, if you can get a nice full photo like that, really, really good. Got him holding the doll and everything. In terms of comps, it's a decent price, I would say. This actual same exact copy sold on eBay and went for like $100 or something, so it's up a little bit over here. But I do think that just generally pre-war does pretty good on PWCC/Fanatics rather than eBay, because there's a lot of people that like collecting a lot of different stuff in pre-war, at least from what I can tell. And so when you have a lot of people that collect a lot of stuff, it's a little easier to have it all in front of them and let them pick, rather than throwing it on eBay where you have to have your searches down. You got to be on top of that for sure to make sure you see everything. And so some players might just, fall through the cracks a little bit or miss a buyer or two, and, that's kind of what happens. But nonetheless, decent price there. Always love the look of that. We have a Top Liga Messi PSA 6 here for 200. That feels like a fairly strong price for the non-foil version of that card. Lamine Yamal Rookie Silver, 200 here for PSA 10. The Dolar Ricardo Zamora here as well. We've seen a couple of these run. I think maybe they might also have reran then, so we've seen them sell a decent bit. But 200 here doesn't strike me as a super high price. I believe they have went from anywhere from like 150 to 250, so that's within the range. And personally, always, again, like that image as well. The Dolar set's really, really nice. This 1915 Ticket album, this has Barcelona on it, and I'm not going to zoom in and try to have you guys figure out who the players are, but essentially Alcantara does appear on some of these. I don't know if he's on this one in particular. The price seems decent, but it is a PSA 4, so I'm sure something's going for that in that regard in terms of pricing. So a PSA 8 Zoff out of 1970 Panini, super high grade, or at least, really good grade. Pop one of 3, none higher, would also indicate that exactly. 204 on there, doesn't seem anything crazy to me. Red Select Wave Messi out of 149 for 204 and a PSA 10. In the next row, you got a 1951 Godfrey Phillips John Charles PSA 1. I believe this is a rookie for him. I believe I looked it up as well. In terms of pricing, 210 on that one. Last time a 1 went was 276. And before that, you have some six. There was a six sale here. I guess this is the Daily Herald, so it's probably not fair to compare the two. But nonetheless, seems like a decent price. Not the all-time high, but still within the range of what you've generally seen. Then you got a Finest Lamine Yamal insert purple refractor out of $299, going for $210 there. Beyond the Lamine Yamal, you have a 1952 Fick Puskás here. Sort of a journal from, a hand cut from a little journal, essentially, and PSA 2.5 there, and a pop one of one, just one higher, goes for $216. There's only been, I think, one other sale of this in terms of sales comps, and it was the same exact copy that had sold prior for $150 a year ago, so that's up a little bit there. Nanina Gol Rivera here, PSA 4, nice grade for sure, $222 on that one. Seems like, clearly a decent price, but nothing crazy. This does have a lot more watchers than the other. Good bit earlier. The Nanina release is always, kind of a standout in my eyes, especially in terms of design. Really good stuff there. Speaking of a standout in terms of a design, I do like the Obsidian Red Floods, but $222 seems like a respectable price. I don't know what to make of that ever, really, but, to each their own. R9, 1995, Monday Chromo here, PSA 6 for $222. That's about where we've seen those at as of late. Then top row here for the first half of this auction block, we have a Lamine Yamal out of 60, Prize Footballers Fusion, that went for $228, PSA 9. You have a White Knight Obsidian Kylian Mbappe for $234, which I looked up because I was interested. I've never really looked at these, but I've seen them and they've always sort of, caught my eye, I guess, to some degree. PSA 10 for $230. When you look at Raws and PSA 9s are closer to like, $60, $80 at this point. Back when they came out, they were like 200 plus very early, like the week of release, but then eventually they dropped to about 100 and then a little lower than 100, a couple months time. So they really haven't done a whole lot over the last, 9 months or so. It seems like this is about where they're going to settle at, but we'll have to see. And then finally, you have a 61 Heinerle Pele Dischwartz there in a PSA 2 with an MK designation going for $252. So that takes us to the top half of the block, and here we are. We have a Eusebio 2.5 blue name for $276 there, about $100 a grade, and pretty nice looking, at least to me. Obviously, the back's always going to be the important part in terms of grading, but it doesn't look bad at all. Rui Costa Calendarios from Panini, 1992. Rookie PSA 8 goes for $288 here. Pop 107, one higher. Doesn't seem like a super strong price. I think the Pop 1 of 1 PSA 9 might have sold for a big number, and people were making a big deal about it, which, fair play, but the PSA 8's going for $288. It's a Pop 1 of 7, so that doesn't strike me as a, wild out of this world price by any means. This one's pretty solid. Florian Albert, PSA 7, but PSA 7 from San Giorgio is a pretty, super strong grade. I have seen packs of these floating around on eBay, so certainly, there's still some sealed product, but generally from what I see, it's not like loads, someone might list like 2, but, you can still find stuff like this, which is really cool if you're into it. Buffon PSA 10 with 9 card grade 10 auto goes for $300 here, which is solid, but his prices in this set have been solid, so it's not anything striking to me. Imperia Rivera here, PSA 7, really nice eye appeal on this one in terms of design. I like that quite a bit. $312 for a Pop 1 of 1, none higher. Pretty cool to see that go. And then this one didn't strike me as crazy. Topps Chrome Gold out of 50 Messi for $312. It is a PSA 10, so if you assume it's a 9 or a raw and you do the grade adjusting multiple and all that, it's like $100. So, $100 in theory for a raw / PSA 9 Messi gold refractor. I take it, I know people hate the PSG days. I'll always stand by. I like PSG days Messi. I like Juventus Ronaldo. I'm a sicko. I don't know what it is, but they weren't there long. It was a few years. You get some cards. Yeah, it didn't go great, but he won a Ballon d'Or with them, didn't he? He didn't win a Champions League or anything, but ultimately, I much enjoy those kits to where they are now. A lot of people say, well, they like Inter Miami. I don't care. It doesn't do anything for me other than I don't even want to get. It doesn't do anything for me. Same thing with any sort of modern Ronaldo cards with him in Saudi. It doesn't do much. So I still like these kits, and I think $312 for that's a fun price. Beyond that, George Weah, of course, 1991-92 foot. PSA 9 goes for $312. That's a fun one. Obviously you got PSA 9. It's early career for him, but also it's the Zidane rookie year, so that's a fun little connection as well. And, Pop 1 of 1 and higher. Super cool. Next to it, we have a 1960 Edward Streltsov. Just sort of rattled that off the dome. I think I did all right. It says rookie, I can't vouch, but I do know that Soviet team didn't have a whole lot going on before that, so probably could assume that that's to be true. Pretty decent price compared to, because like PSA 5 of some of the other big names, I mean, they'll do good prices like between 500 and 1,000, but, that's still somewhat comparable to this, which is at 325 essentially. Next to Eric Cantona, this is a second-year sticker for him. PSA 7 goes for $336. We'll see a PSA 8 of his rookie later, and I think this is a pretty decent price in comparison. Lev Yashin, kind of interesting to see him right above him. The PSA 5 here, that is, goes for $336, which seems like a decent price. We have this VIP Messi I sort of just glanced over, but I think we'll just continue past it if we can. Probably going to do the same for this multi-level or multi-color select field level Lamine Yamal. We'll just keep it moving. PSA 2 Heinerley Pele for $350, which is, kind of about where they are, I would say. Pretty roughed up corners, but what are you going to do? It's a 2. We got a rookie Weah here, PSA 6 $350, which is a pretty solid price. His rookie in a 9, I think sold recently for a decent bit over 1,000. So, a 6 at $350. I would say is strong, but, these don't show up a lot, so I can understand strong prices for even med-grade stuff. Pele Vecchi in a 3 for $360. I looked this one up because we haven't looked it up in a while. Just purely curious. I say that I definitely deleted it because it was just the same price of the last few, and there wasn't really a whole lot to read into it. So I'm sorry for wasting your time there. Did have the Van Nistelrooy opened, but I closed both of those in search of the Pele, so I'll just explain. The Van Nistelrooy, basically, the sales before this, the last sales were last year, and I think it was like $250 and $200. It's been as low as maybe $150. This isn't an all-time high, but it's pretty close to getting back to the all-time high, which is interesting to say the least. It is super high grade. Generally speaking, like 80s and 90s Germany's pretty hard to get stuff out of, I would say, which is kind of interesting. And $360 there seems like a pretty decent price. Next to it, we got the Christian Pulisic Color Blast. There you go, PSA 10 for $372. There's a Ronaldo PSA 9 and a Manchester United kit here in a few at like $500. I take that every single day of the week over Pulisic, even as a Pulisic guy. Lamine Yamal IP Auto next to him here at $384. I think that's what all of them sold for last week, was $384 as well. They're just all pinned right there. Messi Gold image variation from 2024 Chrome, PSA 10. Again, right here, this is a prime example. I'd take the PSG kit. I don't know if I'm crazy, but, take the PSG kit, save $70. It's not even a variation either. This one does look kind of cool. I'll give it that. Like, the image is pretty cool. So I could see that, but, nonetheless. Gold Refractor Jude right here from 2020, and I thought this was going to, it is down in price, I guess, because this is a PSA 8, it's kind of hard to comp. The 9s, you'd assume a decent premium, so an 8 for $384, I'd assume a 9 would go like $500-$600 probably, which is what they were doing a good bit earlier. I guess last year in 2024, a 9 did $870. A Raw was doing, about $700. So there was a time for sure when he was at his all-time high. A PSA 9 here for $1,000 is definitely higher for sure. But ultimately, it's kind of been about this price for a while. Raws back in the day were doing $400, $500. So it doesn't seem like anything, all that wild is going on there. And I would have thought that went on more of a ride. I know his stuff did generally, but he's kind of now in the, in the shadows at Real Madrid in terms of, card appeal. The card excitement can only go to so many people, and Jude's kind of on the back burner for now. We have Der Kaiser next to him here with this Franz Beckenbauer 2021 Topps Museum collection out of 25, goes for $408. Doesn't strike me as a crazy price. I kind of like that. People generally like the framed stuff from Topps Museum. It is sticker auto, but ultimately Beckenbauer's no longer with us, so you're not going to have tons of, within his lifespan cards that were made by Panini and Topps that look good like this. So $408 there seems pretty reasonable to me. Above that, I thought this was interesting, $468 on this Messi blue choice, out of 135 PSA 9, just like color match, sort of. Not true color, but it's still out of 135, 2022 Prism. I take that for sure, compared to some of the other things I see out of Prism, or even just Messi stuff in general. This, again, I don't want to beat up on this chrome gold, but I would take this Prism Messi for sure. But again, that's just me. PSA 10 2010 Panini FC Barca Autografo goes for $480. I've always thought these get strong prices. I think the facsimile auto just looks good on there, and people like that, but these always do super well. 2002 Andres Iniesta PSA 10 392 rookie. This is the one that there was a big find of, and there was a whole lot of chatter about it at the time, but slowly but surely they've all, well, not all of them, but a good bit of them have made their way to market. Initially, like 1,000 or 2, and then 4,000, and then 1,000, and then 9, 8, 7, 6, 500. I think it went as low as 4, so this one's back up a little bit, at least from my memory. But ultimately, I do like the sticker, and, you know, to me, I'd take that over the Messi next to him for sure. Above it, IP auto of Lionel Messi here, 540 for probably his signature. It says Beckett Witness, so you'd have to believe it, but, you know, sometimes I don't even know if I can trust Beckett on that, but nonetheless, probably true. 2006 Lionel Messi PSA 9 Panini card here, going for $552, which, yeah, I mean, yeah, seems right. 1994 Mundo Deportivo, that's all I got. 1994 Mundo Deportivo R9 goes for $550 there. That's a pretty cheap price for a PSA 6, so if you've been looking for one of those, I think that's a decent pickup. Above it, this is the Ronaldo I was mentioning earlier, PSA 9, $560. I mean, for all the people that are out here buying these case hits of all these guys, like, I'll look right above it, exactly. This is exactly my point. Zinedine Zidane, kaboom, and fucking Diego. Sorry, I don't curse ever on these. That's how you can tell how upset I am. But Diego Maradona, 30 years after, I mean, he's literally dead, and they're printing off color blasts that are selling for more than playing career Manchester United kit when he was at Manchester United. Like, that's so cool. You know, for him to go back to Man United so you can get all these cool cards in a Man United kit. And no one cares. They're like, oh, just give me a PSA 10 Kaboom Zinedine Zidane, you know? I love the Kaboom. It's so colorful. I mean, not even colorful, it's just shiny. Like, oh my God. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I take this every single day, and I'm not going to, you know, I guess I should back it with my dollar, but ultimately the dollars are elsewhere, all right? $564 there. I thought that was nice. I like how these look, all right? I don't know. And clearly other people do too, because they're paying that much for a Maradona. But like, what is going on? Anyways, we got the most disgusting parallel out of 2018 Prism that there is. Yeah, green and orange, whatever. We have the Topps now out of 99 Lamine Yamal, $600. $600 for 99 Topps now is always going to be impressive to me. Above it, authentic altered Pele from 58 goes for $720. You have this PSA 7 Messi, number 35 from Mega Cracks team set in 2004. That goes for $720 as well, which is a really strong price. Look this one up, and ultimately I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit here. But yeah, this is all-time high. Well, not all-time high, sorry. This is a relative high for sure. If we look over the last 2 years, I don't know what that one sale is, but whatever. I tend not to believe it, but if you want to, go ahead. Other than that one sale, this would be an all-time high. Again, relative high, gosh. But it would be a relative high by a good bit. The other high is like 650. So, in the lows, we've seen as low as 372. So, it's up almost double from the lows, which is, again, pretty impressive. Messi stuff generally running PSA 7s. I mean, there was a time where like PSA 8s were like $500. So, yeah, not bad. 1974, Johan Cruyff here, this Williams 4 logs. I looked it up. I think I closed it. Yeah, there was only like 1 or 2 other comps, and they were pretty strong as well. This one doesn't show up much. Pop one of 1 none higher in this grade, 750. Feels appropriate considering what I saw before. 2024 Topps Lost Rookies, Thierry Henry. Lost Rookies is one of the most egregious sets I've ever seen in Topps, and I think it's pathetic, but at the same time, you know, the card looks nice, I guess. But anyways, 780 there. Doesn't seem bad. Kylian Mbappe out of 49 at 2022 Prism Auto here, 870. PSA 8 Di Stefano from 1953 Bruguera. This goes very strong. We saw high grades just absolutely rampant for a bit. I mean, if you look here in sales history from December until February, we saw like 8 sales or like 6 or 7, I mean like 6 to 8 sales, somewhere in there. And it was going anywhere from 660 to at one point $300, and then back up to, well, 520 and then 300 again. So All-time low was 300. We're looking at almost 4 times that with this sale, which is pretty nuts. But honestly, I mean, sort of understandable when, you know, you have 7, let's call it 7 sales in 3 months for this grade, and then you have 0 sales for like 16 months. You know, it's just, I mean, that's kind of how that's going to play out. And ultimately, back then, you didn't know if this was a showing of more to come, where there's just going to continue to be these sales. So you never really know at the time. But man, that was a strong sale. We'll have a couple more strong sales here. 1970 Vanderhoot of Johan Cruyff. This is his 3rd Vanderhoot, but kind of his 2nd in a way. This is a PSA 8, and this did really good as well. I mean, all-time low sales in 2024, 480, 528, and then this one goes for 1,300, which takes us back almost into 2022 pricing on this one, other than this random one that sold for 6K on Golden. You always got to wonder how Golden gets those just preposterous, ludicrous sales, but somehow there are plenty. But nonetheless, that's basically like almost all-time high pricing, which is very impressive, I would say. Obviously, the grade rarity there playing a huge factor. Same thing here with this Eusebio Sicker from 1963, as low as nearly 500 on eBay. This one goes for 13, which again, this is actually an all-time high, which is very impressive. You know, rookie era for Eusebio for sure. I wouldn't say it's like, you know, it's not 61 or 62. It is 63, and 63 you get some of the more gettable. Typically, people think of the Calciatori, but this is also an option, as you can well see. Pop 1 of 9, just one higher, goes for a good number. Above it, this one, not a great number, not like a terrible number, I guess, either. Eric Cantona, PSA 8 for 1,500. If we look at other sales, we'll see PSA 4s at anywhere from $280 to $500. We'll see a PSA 7 here at $1,700, which would indicate that this is a bad sale. But then we'll see a PSA 9 that was at $2,400 last year. So, you know, kind of make of it what you will. This seems like an okay sale to me. I was scrolling. I don't think they have it here because it was labeled differently pre-boom, but it was labeled as 1986. When it was labeled as 1986 pre-boom in like 2018, this card slash sticker, this sticker sold for like $50. So sure, it might be down compared to some all-time highs somewhere, but ultimately, you know, it's still $1,500 sticker for Eric Cantona, which is pretty good, I would say. Next to it, we have a PSA 1 Aquarella, which I almost said Alifa, but clearly it's an Aquarella. Nearly 2K for a 1. I've been saying for a while now it's about 1,000 a grade. This does look really good. I'm thinking maybe that's why. Like, the back looks fairly nice. The front, you know, pretty nicely centered. Really good color. No eye appeal sticker on it, which is weird to me. But ultimately, I think maybe that's a play on eye appeal, or maybe a Kraken resub candidate. If that's the pricing just didn't make a lot of sense, and that's how I'm trying to explain it. But I don't know. Nonetheless, 2014 Red Prism Messi BGS 9. This is up a good bit as well. As you can tell, we've been saying that for a while now. A lot of stuff's up. It's doing really good. Soccer is one of the best performing sports categories, and I haven't talked too much about it, but you know, it makes me feel a little vindicated. I've been thinking for a while to myself, man, you know, soccer's ripe for this type of stuff, and man, it is certainly going, especially on, you know, big stuff, and this is a pretty big card for sure. PSA 9 last year, or at least at the beginning of this year, was $1,600, and this BGS 9 goes for $2,200. I could scroll back further. That's basically the prices it's been. You can find sales in 2022, 2023, where PSA 9 red Messis were anywhere from $1,500 to $2,300, something like that. So this is back to, you know, pretty decent prices, I would say. There was a 9.5 in 2022 that had sold for the same price as this BGS 9, so that's a good sign, I would say. I've just said I would said like so many times in that go, but nonetheless, that takes us to the top 3, which is, you know, quite a pairing. Would have never guessed. We got a VVB up here at the 3 spot with 2022 Topps Dynasty out of 5. You got a little bit of the, I think that's like the UEFA badge sort of thing going on. I can't remember what that is, but I've seen it on other patches. Nonetheless, 3,600 there. Not going to look at comps because, you know, you don't really have many comps on this type of stuff. I'm just going to say it's probably a pretty good sale. You know, I'd find it hard to believe that these were supposed to go for 5 or 10K, but the Liverpool collectors are always out in full force, and as you can see, they definitely do their job pretty well. Next to it, PSA 671 BIS. You know, not a whole lot to say about the BIS. I guess I do want to sort of check it out and just see, like, this is a newer graded one. Like, what does it look like, you know? Let's just, you know, scroll around. This has really nice corners, really nice edges across the board. I mean, a little bit of whitening there, but like really nice. When you look on the back, really nice as well. It could be like a little scuffing there. I don't know if that might be too much to be scuffing. That probably looks normal. This white as well. I don't know if that's normal. I guess I should spend more time looking at 71 bits. It generally looks okay, but I guess I could see how it gets a 6 given the general questions that I have with it. So in terms of pricing, if we want to look at that, yeah, I mean, we know what a 71 bits chart looks like at the moment. It looks really nice if you own one. If you don't, it's probably, pretty painful. But this PSA 6 was $3K a year ago. All-time low, or a relative low over the last 2 years, was $2,100. And that one just sold for nearly $5, so up like 150% from the relative low price over the last couple years. And finally, a card that isn't really going up and to the right by any means is the Alifa PSA Pele Pop. This is a PSA 4. In terms of IP, I don't really think it looks that great. It looks really light on color, which, personally matters a lot to me. I like a nice dark saturated item. You also, I don't know much about centering on this copy, but I don't know if I remember other people poking in here. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, I guess the back doesn't look great either. PSA 4 seems pretty strong, I guess. Maybe it's a lower 4. Maybe that plays a factor in terms of pricing here. When we look at the chart, though, which we will do now, let me go ahead and just, there we go. And yeah, I mean, this is the all-time chart, which is obviously going to be a bit of a story, right? It started off in 2018 at 2.3 thousand, peaked at 88, my lord. And then, we've worked our way down back here to 24, and now a couple more sales at 22, 23, 24. So, basically relative low pricing, which is probably to be expected on almost all Alifas at this point. The Alifas, to me haven't been, to me, in general, they haven't been strong as of late. They've all sort of followed this price chart. And I think reason being, one, it's just not the best it doesn't have great eye appeal. So I don't think non-soccer people are super eager to add this. But, the soccer space has to some degree sort of made it the Pele. And, I just think it struggles. One, due to eye appeal. Two, also availability. With iconic stuff like this, the availability is part of it. Like, you kind of need it to be available for it to be iconic. So that's the gift and the curse, I guess. But these have been, fairly gettable, and at times very gettable, because they, people that have them might sell a good few of them in one go, and that's definitely hurt this card, generally speaking. PSA 4 is in the top half of grades. I wanted to throw that out there. Total PSA Pop's 205. There's like 60 to 70 higher, and then maybe 100, 110 lower, or something like that. I counted it up earlier. And so, to me, a PSA 3 at 13 grand to get yourself at like the midway mark of grades, and presumably in the future, more and more low grades would be submitted. So like you'll even be higher than 50%, I would think. That seems pretty good to me. If you truly like this Pele, personally, I don't really like this Pele, but ultimately, I know a lot of people do, and I know it's sort of seen as the Pele, but it's not really going through a good stretch at the moment. I've made my feelings known. I think that just because Pele was the last domino to fall in this market-wide reset we've had, he held on for a long time, but ultimately, at the end of the day, everyone has to take a step back. At some point, he's certainly taken a step back, and, it seems fair. So that's it for this weekly. We'll look at next week and see what we have. Spoiler, I've already looked, and it's pretty barren, at least I thought. Not so barren. We have a Marks of Excellence Lamine Yamal here. We have a PSA 9 of the 2002 sticker Ronaldo, which we haven't seen a PSA 9 sell in quite a bit. I feel like the last year, I don't even know if we've seen one, so I'm interested in how that does. PSA 10 of this orange Stadium Club Lamine Yamal. We have a PSA 6 Beckenbauer. I'm going to look at the back. We're going to do it. We're going to expose it or validate it. I don't know. Looking at the back, there's a little crack in here and that, but ultimately that doesn't look terrible. I've definitely seen a lot worse copies. Is there a little bit, I don't know. If you want to be really nitpicky, maybe you could point out some stuff, but I think that generally looks pretty good. Beyond that, 64 of Eusebio, which is pretty early. You got a Ronaldo and a Messi auto. That Ronaldo, a little bit more meaningful, at least in my mind. Heinerle, PSA 4 Pele. You have a Topps Dynasty Neymar, another Beckenbauer there, along with a PSA 9 Mbappe, PSA 9 Messi, a red dual Messi and Neymar, and certainly some fun stuff in between. So that's it for this week. That's it for next week. We'll talk about it again here in 7 days. What do you say? But that's going to be it for us today. So if you did enjoy, of course, as always, again, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to tell me or others, something you thought sold high, low, or snagged yourself, would love to hear about it down below in a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. Vintage Discord as well, and the link is down below. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.